Hey guys, making a video on basic progressions to a perfect push-up. I know a lot of you guys are struggling on getting your first push-up, and so I wanted to do something that was pretty quick and simple in its design, but very effective. So the first starting step for the push-up would be a really good plank. So we want our hands directly underneath our shoulders. We're gonna plank out, squeeze our butt, squeeze our abs, and squeeze our quads. This will lock our entire body out. This is a position that needs to be maintained the entire time during a push-up. The arms extend in the push-up, but the body remains in that plank. So we want to be able to check off the box and say that we do have the ability to maintain that plank. I would say a good plank is about a minute. I think a lot of you guys do have the ability to hold that plank for about a minute, but it is good to always go back and kind of check that movement and make sure you're doing it correctly. You know, squeezing everything, activating everything isn't just something that we say to kind of evoke a torturous response out of you guys. It does have it has a purpose, and we're hoping that it leads into other things. So when I'm doing my push-up, if I can make sure to be aware to maintain that plank position, then I'm gonna have a lot more success. I think sometimes we probably just forget to do it because we're focusing on something else, which is the arms extending. All right. Once we can hold a good plank, what I've been doing recently is starting from the bottom up. I really like that method. I've had a lot of success with it. And I also like to start with a hand elevation. So you're gonna see here, I'm gonna use my table, coffee table, because I'm not at the gym. But the coolest thing about hand elevation is that it makes the push-up easier, which is great for practice when we're building up to our first push-up from the ground. And we can get a lot of volume practice in here, whereas maybe we can do like 1 or 2 good push-ups, but then form breaks down, and that only gives us 2 reps of practice, where if we elevated the hands, we could get a lot more volume in with good practice. If we were at the gym and this was a box, I could flip the box over to make it higher. I could put more plates on it, and the higher I go, the easier it gets, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. It's just cool to know that there's a really good place, a beginner level where we can start and then kind of come down to a more advanced level that is ultimately gonna lead to the ground, which is the push-up itself. So the bottom-up method is I'm gonna start with my hands in position on the box. I want my hands to be directly underneath my armpits in the bottom with a vertical forearm, even though I'm angled sideways, so the forearm's gonna go this way, but a straight up and down forearm in a sense, with the hands pretty much surrounding the chest. So I get into that position, I put the palm of my hand kind of like halfway on the table. This way I have like a little bit of an angle instead of on the top where I could slip. And the bottom up method is I'm actually gonna get into a good position, bring my chest to the box, extend into that really tight plank, and then press up. And then to do multiple reps of this, I'm just gonna go back down, bring my chest back there, make sure my hands are in a good position, plank, press up, down, hands in a good position, plank, press up. You can get a lot of volume of that in, and it's really pretty cool. What we notice a lot of times is when people add the downward motion of the push-up, they end up in a really bad position because of some sort of movement issue, basically just some sort of not knowing where to get into the right position. But the thing is, then they get a ton of practice in a really bad position, and then when we push them into a better position for their body, they can't produce any force through it because they have no exposure to it. So this is a great one, starting you off right away with a really good position, okay? Once we have that ability, we wanna work on the downward motion now because it's a 2-way movement, right? And so what we'll do is I like to use negatives. Basically, you'd get into your position, start from the bottom up, plank, press up, and then you might do a slow descent, making sure that your chest ends up surrounded by your hands on both sides with the elbows in. Maybe 5 seconds. Touch. Cool, bend the knees, plank back out, back up, touch, bend the knees, rest, plank back out, up. And you can do a lot of volume that way as well. Once you've accumulated a lot of volume, just a lot of reps, a lot of practice with really good form, what you'll do is you'll just slowly lower your hand elevation, and then ultimately you'll be on the ground. And hopefully then you can start building up a regular solid push-up, and that'd be beautiful. One of the things I think that attracted me to CrossFit right in the beginning was Greg Glassman, who said, doing the common uncommonly well is something that we want to strive for. I think the push-up is a great example of that. You know, a lot of us do get an arm extension, but we lose our midline, and I know a lot of you guys are aware of that. And so it's beautiful to be able to go back, look at all of our movement, and from the bottom up, kind of build something that's much stronger, even though we thought we kind of had it all figured out. And so I love that about the ability to do that with the push-up and just in CrossFit in general. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. This is definitely something that can be done at home or at the gym, and I hope you guys have a ton of success with it. And I'll see you guys at the box.